So I am Roxanne Prasad, the senator representing the 19th Senatorial District. Welcome to Senate District 19. Again, welcome to Senate District 19. It's a great place to be. As we like to say, we're the powerful 19. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge some of our colleagues and friends who are here. You're all our friends here today celebrating with us. First, Congressman Hakeem Jeffries. Congressman, thank you. Congressman Jerry Nadler. Thank you, Congressman. Senator Kevin Parker. Assembly members Eric Dillon, Diana Richardson, and Helene Weinstein. Our city council members, Alan Maisel, Matthew Eugene, Alika Ampry Samuel. Farrah Lewis was here. I'm not seeing her right now. So that's our partners in government. Thank you for being here, New York State Parks Commissioner Eric Couliside, and former Commissioner Rose Harvey. This started under her watch, everyone. New York State Department of Environmental Commissioner Basil Segos, and I think I may have butchered his last name. I did it, thank you. Executive Director of the Governor's Office of Faith-Based Community Development, former Assembly Member Karim Kamara. National Park Service and the City Parks DEP, thank you all very, very much. Awesome job, everyone. Thank you to the Friends of Penn and Worth and Fountain Park. Thank you. Remember years ago them having these conversations. Thank you to the Jamaica Bay Rockaway Park Conservancy. All our partners and friends who are here today, thank you, thank you, thank you. Today is a great day. You could have been anywhere else, but you chose to be here with us as we celebrate the first phase, the opening of the first phase of the Shirley Chisholm State Park, right here in Brooklyn. Remember, it's the largest state park in the city. So I've lived in Brooklyn for over 20 years. Many of you may know I came from that country called Guyana in South America, where the sun is always shining, and we have lots of parks. So today, coming here and celebrating the opening of a park gives me tremendous pleasure. And why? Because Shirley Chisholm also had a connection to Guyana. So, come full circle. One of the greatest callings I've had is celebrating with people, serving community. We all aspire to do our best. And for some of us, when you were a little toddler, growing up, you took an oath when you became a brownie or a Boy Scout or whatever you became. And that oath said, I promise that I will do my best, right? And for all of us in government, we're always striving to do our best. So, while Brooklyn is undoubtedly thriving, we cannot turn a blind eye on the communities in central Brooklyn who are struggling. Communities such as parts of my district, Senate District 19. As vibrant and diverse as our communities are, we need to care for them, for those who are still falling through the cracks. That's why when Governor Cuomo announced this initiative, we were all ecstatic. He announced $1.4 billion on the Vital Brooklyn initiative in 2017. Anyone who does not know what Vital Brooklyn is, please look it up. We're changing the way we do business. It's about housing, it's education, it's about parks such as this, it's healthcare, it's everything, comprehensive outlook on the lives of the people in this great state of New York, particularly in Brooklyn here. So as we continue to transform the lives of Brooklynites, let me just tell you a few tips on what Vital Brooklyn really means. The governor has spent $700 million for community-based services and primary care. We have parts of our district that's considered a healthcare desert, so primary care is important. Over $500 million to build 3,000 units of affordable housing, and we really mean affordable housing, plus 9% tax credit set aside for 1,000 units of senior housing. Too often, seniors come into our office and they're in need of housing, and we're saying, not yet, we don't, but we're looking forward to bringing online 1,000 units. Over $10 million to turn schoolyards into community playgrounds and open spaces. You all know how important it is that our kids are not just sitting inside, but having places to come out and play. Having places, so we're telling someone in the shuttle I was coming and says, I took my kids away, and then they're upset. You know why? Because it's like, close the iPads today. You're coming to the park. And that's what we're trying to do. Bring more parks so that our kids are not just sitting indoors, they are coming outdoors to have fun. We're spending over $13 million to develop new cogeneration solar projects, which is great. We did solarize Brownsville, for many of you, if you don't know. You pass around, you'll see a number of the solar projects that we've instituted. We've done over $3 million to create nearly 24 community gardens, and many of them are right here in East New York. If you just drive around, you'll see the great gardens that people are taking care of. And finally, over $4 million for community-based violence reduction and response programs for youth. Amen is right. We have to. If we're not infusing funding into these programs, our youth are just going to continue in a path that we do not want them to continue on. And so to Governor Cuomo, thank you for all of that. And thank you to my colleagues in the Assembly and the Senate who fought the governor to ensure that we got a lot of it. The governor may not have liked us when we fought him, right, Governor? Well, you know what? It took a team effort, and that's what it is. And that's what today is about. Today, I'm proud to say that the revitalization of outdoor facilities is continuing with the first phase of the Shirley Chisholm State Park. Does that have a great ring to it? The Shirley Chisholm State Park. We asked the governor for that too, and we got it. Yes, we did. This state park will allow you to bring your families to enjoy the waterfront. People right here in this district would not have to go far to enjoy the waterfront. You can just take a bus, ride your bicycle, or even walk over here. It's about a mile from Canarsie along the path to here. You can do that. I want to thank our partners who've added the vibrancy and accessibility to this park, and most importantly, thank Governor Andrew Cuomo for spearheading this project and making it one of his top priorities. Again, thank you, Governor. His investments have made this important addition to central Brooklyn possible. No longer will people say, East New York? I'm not going to East New York. Well, now you have a destination when you're saying East New York. You have the Shirley Chisholm State Park. So again, thank you all for being here. And it's my honor to introduce the person who's most responsible for this in more ways than one, Governor Andrew Cuomo, the 56th governor of the state of New York. I didn't beat you up.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you. Let's have a big round of applause for Senator Roxanne Prasad. How amazing is this? Who would have believed? Who would have believed? And the senator did the acknowledgments, and I'm going to mention a few others over the course of my remarks. But first and foremost, we have members of the Shirley Chisholm family who are here. Valerie Bacon, Monique Foster, Shirley Foster, Lawrence Dubois, Wesley Maloney, Aletha Maloney. Stand up and let us give you a round of applause. And thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to acknowledge Commissioner Kuliside and his predecessor, who really birthed this idea and made it happen, Rose Harvey. Let's give them a round of applause. This is the largest state park in New York City, and it's in Brooklyn. You know why? Because Brooklyn needed it. That's why. For me, I'm old enough to remember coming down that Belt Parkway, and all you saw was a mountain of seagulls. It was a mountain of seagulls. And you closed the windows, and I'll leave that to your imagination. But that's what it was. Nobody had an idea on what was on the other side of that mountain. Nobody knew that you had this beautiful waterfront right here in Brooklyn, and how desperately it was needed. I was building and running housing for homeless families and low-income families off Pennsylvania Avenue. And we had all these young people as part of the family, all these kids. And it was a very dense environment, and they were city kids, and a lot of them had come from tough circumstances. And I wanted to find an outlet for them. I wanted to find something for them to do rather than just run up and down the hallways of the apartment building. But there was nothing around. There was no green space. There was no park that you could really go to. So what we did is we formed a Little League team of these kids, called ourselves the Help One Mets. And we would go from ball field to ball field all across the city, and it would give us an activity and get the kids outside, and they would run and they would play and they would be green and they would see a different part of the world. Now, to say that there was not an athlete among these kids would be to be generous. They made the Bad News Bears look like professionals. But they were all tough kids. They were city kids. Our motto was, Help One Mets. We never won a game, but we never lost a fight. Exercise, nature, change of environment is part of a healthy lifestyle. The Senator was talking about Vital Brooklyn. Vital Brooklyn is a total different way of thinking about community. Real affordable housing. Shirley Chisholm's time, they called it low-income housing. We now call it affordable housing. That's because it's not really low-income housing anymore. Health care integrated into the community. Prevention of health issues, more exercise, more treatment, etc. That's Vital Brooklyn. Changes the way we do business. And this is part of that. Giving people an outlet to nature and giving them a respite from these hectic city environments. Shirley Chisholm grew up in Brownsville. She was from Barbados. When the family wanted a place to relax, you know where they had to go? Jones Beach. They had to drive all the way out to Jones Beach from Brownsville. Can you imagine that? That ride all the way out on a Saturday just to get a little space and a little peace of mind. Not anymore. This state park, 400 acres, 10 miles of trails, 3.5 miles of waterfront right here in Brooklyn. You can fish. There'll be programs to teach children about the environment. There'll be picnic areas. There'll be bike trails. Beautiful mural as honoring Shirley Chisholm, done by Danielle Mastrion. And let's give her a round of applause. This was not easy to do. It wasn't an easy transformation. People who remember what it was before, it was hard. It required a lot of different governments to work together. It required New York City to work with us. And I want to thank Alan Maisel and Matthew Eugene and Alika Ampry Samuel for what they did to make the city part of this. It required something called the federal government. Have you ever heard of the federal government? They controlled the site. and we had to get them to be cooperative, which sometimes can be challenging given the current occupancy of the White House. But I wanted to make like it wasn't that big a deal, so I called Congressman Jeffries. I said, I have a little favor to ask you. It should only take you one phone call. Just call up the federal government and say, you know that site they have along Jamaica Bay on the side of the Belt Parkway, well, we want them to give that to the state so we can turn it into a state park. That's not a big problem, is it, Congressman? He said, are you kidding me, Governor? But Congressman Jeffries got it done. Let's give him a round of applause. And then we needed $40 million, which is a lot of money. You want to build the largest state park, that's a lot of money. And we went to our legislature, and I want to ask them to stand. But Senator Prasad, thank you very much. We want to thank Senator Kevin Parker. Stand up, please. Assemblyman Eric Dalan, Assemblymember Helene Weinstein, Assemblymember Diana Richardson. Thank you for coming through and making this park a reality. And the lesson is that good things are hard. The important things in life don't come easy. And that's why I think the dedication to Shirley Chisholm is so important. Here you have a family that immigrated to the United States and showed how possible and the potential of what immigration can do for this country and how it makes it a stronger country. Shirley Chisholm was the daughter of a seamstress, and her father was a janitor and had a number of jobs. She was an educator. She worked in daycare. They didn't grow up wealthy, but she grew up with values and hard work and commitment, and she was willing to take on the hard ones to get the good things done. 1965, she became the second African American to become a member of the New York State Assembly. 1965. 1968, the first African American female in the United States Congress, Shirley Chisholm from Brooklyn. 1972, the first woman to appear in a presidential debate running for President of the United States. 1972, Shirley Chisholm. And Shirley Chisholm was a real progressive before they used that word progressive. Everybody's a progressive now. I don't even know what it means anymore. I'm a progressive. But she was the real deal. And she was a real progressive. What is a real progressive? Somebody who knows it's about fighting for equal justice and equal opportunity for all. Somebody who fights for civil rights, for minority rights, for helping people who are in poverty and need desperate help to raise themselves up. That's what progressive is. Progressive today, if Shirley Chisholm were here today, she would be talking about how unjust it is that we're not giving more money to poor schools because that's where the need is. She would be talking about Rikers Island and the number of black and brown young people who are incarcerated in a jail that has no right to be operating because it violates civil rights, civil liberties, and is a human rights abuse. She would be speaking about that. She would be speaking about the New York City Housing Authority that leaves people living without heat, without light, in the most terrible conditions in the quote-unquote most progressive city in the nation. That's what Shirley Chisholm would be talking about. And she would be fighting for it. And she would be insisting on it. And when people said, well, you don't understand, it's hard, she would say, I don't care that it's hard. change is always hard. Getting to the Congress was hard. Getting to the Assembly was hard. Running for president was hard. We're here to do the hard things. Dr. Martin Luther King said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. Yes, it bends towards justice, but I think what Reverend Dr. King was really saying is we must bend it towards justice. It doesn't bend automatically. It bends when good people grab that arc and exert force for change to bring justice to reality. That was Shirley Chisholm. That was Shirley Chisholm. And that's this park, and that's her memory and her inspiration. And as we open this beautiful park and open a whole new area of interest to generations of young people, right here in the backyard of Brooklyn, let us also remember the lesson and the moral of Shirley Chisholm. You fight the good fight, and you work even when it's hard to bring real change to people who really need it. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Congressman Hakeem Jeffries.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. This is a great day here in the great borough of Brooklyn, and we're so thankful that all of you have taken the time to come out and enjoy and celebrate this wonderful occasion. We're so thankful, of course, for all of the community leaders, members of clergy, colleagues in government, the Chisholm family, and those who have joined us here today. Thankful for the tremendous leadership and partnership at all levels of government. As the governor mentioned, this was an effort from the city, the state, and the federal government. It took a team effort, all hands on deck, but every team requires a great quarterback, and I'm thankful that this team had a great quarterback in Governor Andrew Cuomo to make sure that the plays were executed, and he brought us to this very day. I'm thankful that we have a governor, of course, who doesn't just talk the talk. He walks the walk. He gets things done. Today is a living, breathing manifestation of that idea, that dream, that objective that he had when he launched Vital Brooklyn in partnership with all of us. And he committed to improving the health outcomes for people in disadvantaged communities throughout Brooklyn. And he's getting that done. He committed to improving the affordable housing access to people who live in tough neighborhoods in Brooklyn, and he's getting that done. And he committed to improving the quality of life for the people who live in neighborhoods like East New York and Canarsie and Brownsville, and today he's gotten that done. This is a beautiful park, not in a gentrifying part of Brooklyn, in the real Brooklyn, and we're thankful for the governor, the city, the state, and the federal government for getting this done. I want to thank Jen Narcissian and Joshua from the National Parks Service for their work and their partnership. And of course, my friend, the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, Jerry Nadler, who's doing a lot to defend our democracy. And he's part of the team down in Washington. Shirley Chisholm, as I get ready to take my seat so we can get to the appointed hour of the ribbon cutting. You know, Shirley Chisholm, as the governor mentioned, was elected in 1968, first African-American woman to serve in the United States Congress, a dynamic trailblazer, served for 14 years, did so much for so many, including right here in the East New York community. When Shirley Chisholm made the decision to retire in 1982, there were two African-American members of Congress who were elected that year. Congressman Ed Towns and Congressman Major Owens. And when I talked to Towns, and before that Owens, Towns would often tell me, he said, you know, for years there was a dispute as to which congressional district was the rightful heir to the legacy of Shirley Chisholm. And then Congressman Towns went off and retired, and Congressman Owens retired initially in 2006. Owens was replaced by Yvette Clarke. I wound up succeeding Congressman Ed Towns. And I said to Towns the other day, I said, Yvette and I have finally resolved the dispute as to who is the rightful heir to Shirley Chisholm's legacy. He said, really, Jeffries, how did you resolve it? I said, we concluded that Shirley Chisholm was such a bad sister, it took 2 members of Congress to replace her. And so we're just thankful to stand on the shoulders of Shirley Chisholm and all that she has meant to the borough, the city, the state, and the nation. What a tremendous legacy to name this state park on her behalf. Shirley Chisholm once said that if they don't want to give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. Well, today, Shirley Chisholm has a state park, and we're thankful it's a living, breathing recognition of all that she has done. So thank you, Governor Cuomo. Thank you, Jerry. Thank the members of the state legislature. Thank all of the members of the executive branch, the city council, for this tremendous team effort. God bless all of you. God bless Shirley Chisholm. God bless Brooklyn. And God bless the United States of America. Let's cut the ribbon.